Now, over the history of your involvement in the club, you would have seen so many players, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of players. Is there a standout batter? You've probably gone close to giving us a hint in relation to that victory just then, but who was the best batter that you saw playing for Preston and why?
I think in his time at Preston, that's all I can go on, because bear in mind Ray Harvey had already had a very fine district or premier career, but he came to us in his late 30s. But the standout for me was Rohan Porpalai.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting story about Rohan. He's Tamil. If he had been a Sri Lankan instead of Tamil, he was still Sri Lankan, but he wasn't Sinhalese, as the majority of the team are. He would have played Test cricket for Sri Lanka. What's outstanding about Rohan is in the years he played with us, if you look at all the players who played sub-district over the years and played over 100 games or more, Rohan stands up there with the best, with an average of something like 43 over the years, all through predominantly uncovered wickets. That's what we played on in those days. To do what he did, there are only 3 players who've done that. Val Holton, who was just the greatest player of any period for sub-district. He averaged nearly 60 per innings. And then Rohan was the second.
Gee.
And just incredible.
Tell me, what was the story of getting him to Preston?
He came from North Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not exactly sure how we got onto him, but Rohan is one of I would regard him as a friend. The thing that I managed to do in those days was I got him permanent residency and citizenship.
Okay.
And that it was easier to do then than it is now. But he played for us all those years without any money involved. To him, that residency and the citizenship was worth more than anything else.
What a great story.
That was the key.
What a great story. Was there a bowler as good as him?
Oh, look, of all the bowlers I've seen, I think Dave Jeffrey. Dave was just, you played with Dave. 2 full seasons, over 70 wickets. On his day, he was just a fantastic player. And I think over time, the other one has to be Eddie Ruttenfels. Mm. Eddie could just do things that his record speaks for itself. He's one of the top 10 all-time bowlers in sub-district cricket, over 600 wickets.
Amazing. I played with both of those. Dave Jeffrey came from North Melbourne as well, so a bit of a link there.
Yeah. Brunswick never forgave us for that. Particularly, we beat them in a final and he got 8 wickets.
And Eddie came straight from Heidelberg off the Malthoid wickets.
Yeah.
Straight into...
That's right. Eddie'd been a schoolboy legend in sport, captain of the school at Marceline in football, and a very fine cricketer. And I'm not sure, I think Jack Potter had a bit to do with enticing Eddie to the club. And George Pushlenko came with him.
What about the best all-rounder?
Oh, in terms of sheer performance, you struggle to go past Bill Lewin. Bill Lewin, the year he won the sub-district medal, over 50 wickets, 58 wickets, 550 runs as well. Just phenomenal. But there were many others. Cole Miller was a fine all-rounder, but his best days were when he was at Ivanhoe. Ray Harvey was a very accomplished spin bowler, and fine batsman. More recently, it's been difficult to find too many really outstanding all-rounders. I'd have to think. I might have missed one or two. I have to think about it.
Over 500 games, over 41 seasons, what was your personal playing highlight?
Interesting story. We played Brunswick in the seconds, and George Moore was captain. And George was probably, I think Mike Ryan would love this, but George was probably the most disagreeable player I've ever played against. And we played them in a one-dayer down at Preston, and I was captain. And 8 ball overs, and they made in 38 overs, they made 190 odd. And George, we're sort of at the gate as George came in for afternoon tea, and he says, "See if you can fucking beat that," you know. And he really gave it to us, you know. So anyway, I opened, and I'm not sure who I opened with. It might have been Phil Sterling. We got started, and they had a player by the name of Zajac who was very quick, but he liked to bowl like Brian Pert. He liked to see blood, you know. He started bouncing me, and I hooked him a couple of times, and then I put him into the side screen at the northern end, up near the scoreboard, and we were away. And I ended up, we passed them in about the 25th over, and I got over 100, but I got my 100 in 70 minutes.
Wow.
Just had one of those days. And I wished I'd had it more often.
It was a short ground, Brunswick on the hook, wasn't it?
Well, no, it was Preston actually.
Oh, was it Preston?
Yeah. But anyway, just had a day out.
Fantastic. And what about bowling? What was your best bowling performance?
I'm not sure they were ever great, but I took 2 hat-tricks for the club, both in the fourths. Probably the first hat-trick. They thought they could hit me out of the ground and fell short 3 times, I think. Or not quite, twice anyway, but the third time I bowled the fella, so there was no argument about it. But that might have been it. Not too many bowling performances, really.
Not too many. You've got 2 hat-tricks in a career. Dick, you have a serious love for cricket and a serious love for Preston. I've known you for 50 years. It's just amazing that you've been able to sustain that passion for the length of time that you have. What are your thoughts about the 1860 Club?
Oh, I think it's a wonderful idea. The thing that I look back on, when I took over as secretary in 73, I changed things, the way we operated. Most clubs ran, but I tried to run it like a business. And more particularly when I was president. I think that was the key. In those days, we were playing on uncovered wickets, much more casual approach to training. I mean, we trained hard, but when I see what Alex does with his players now, it's a much better and more focused approach than we had. And administration was the same. The thing that I find now that I never had when I was president was I've got people like Martin and Alex and myself now who are not playing but are available to do things. And believe me, there's a lot to be done. So if I regret anything in my period, we didn't do enough about what's now being done. The 1860 Club, I think, is a wonderful concept. And I'm more than happy to try and throw my weight behind whatever we can do to make that work. I want the past players to feel free to come back and enjoy the club as much as we do.
Mm. Well, there's a lot of passion around. We've spoken to a lot of people over the last month or two, and the passion for the club remains, and the enthusiasm is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Dick, I think this might be the end of round 1.
Okay.
We're going to do other shows, but thank you very much. I've been hanging off just about every word you've said, and we've only just touched or scratched the surface, actually. So thank you very much, and we look forward to the next session with you.
Thank you, Lee.